Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. Run through the weather warnings. We still have a thunderstorm warning issued for parts of Scotland today, but for most the showers we will see will be lighter and less intense. We'll have a look at the latest UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. It is a fairly mixed bag. Temperatures hovering around average, maybe slightly below average at times, and the precipitation amounts will be very much up and down. Not going to see absolute deluges at any points, but we are still likely to see some showers, maybe some thunderstorms, and perhaps some periods of longer spells of rain, but nothing too crazy for the time of year. And then we'll have a look at the longer range, look at the latest GFS, GM, ECMWF, and the ensembles as we head into early June, as we are starting to see things evolving, and it does look like we could see something a bit warmer and drier as we start June before turning a little bit cooler for the period after that. At the moment, it looks like high pressure is going to be returning, going to be building in over the top of us. Then we're going to see that high pressure potentially move slightly westwards and allow a northerly wind in. So it could be warm, dry for a period of time, and we're seeing that from a lot of the runs at the moment, and then it turns a little bit chillier. But it is still in the medium to longer range and still subject to quite a bit of change. So we'll have to wait and see. But we'll try and show you what the latest developments are in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. If you start on live radar, you can see an array of showers around at the moment. I'm calling this around the late morning period. And you can see that there are some heavy pulses in places, but we're seeing nowhere near as many oranges and reds within these showers so far than compared to yesterday. And that is because the energy is lower and less likely to see any major thunderstorms. We are still going to see heavy showers around, so still will be bursts of some quite moderate precipitation, but don't expect anything too torrential. There is a small risk of it, as ever, but it's nowhere near as high as it was yesterday. They will be moving through pretty quickly on this southwesterly breeze. You can already see the showers kind of aligning from that southwesterly direction, heading northwards and eastwards. Now, if you put on the temperatures late this morning, you can see it's not a particularly warm day with that wind coming in off the Atlantic, but it isn't a particularly cold day either. In the sunshine between any of those showers, it will still feel pretty pleasant indeed, but the wind may get up a little bit, cloud comes over, then it will feel a little bit chilly, a little bit nippy out there, but again, nothing too troublesome for this time of year. If you have a look at those weather warnings now, you can see we've got one weather warning issued for today across eastern Scotland. It comes into force at 11 a.m. and expires at 10 p.m. and it's for slow-moving thunderstorms. That instability has shifted northwards. You can see here 10 to 20 millimeters an hour is likely, and we could see as much as 30 to 40 millimeters in a few areas. Medium impact, very low likelihood. So a low chance we see anything too severe, but there is a possibility in this region. Now, if you go over to the latest UKV now, you'll be able to see this in detail. If we do move through, you can see those showers continue to develop through this afternoon. Some of them could be intense, but don't expect anything too major, and they do start to die out through in the afternoon. But you can see they're a bit more intense across eastern and northern Scotland, larger showers and more reds in there, just showing you why we've got that thunderstorm warning issued. As we head through Monday evening, things will turn drier through the late afternoon into the early evening, turning a lot more brighter for sunset before we do start to see some rain moving in from the west. Now, this is some persistent rain that could arrive through Tuesday morning. It doesn't look too widespread or too heavy, and it will move through relatively quickly through the mid-morning to late morning period, but it could give a little bit of a miserable morning for many tomorrow. Eventually, as it clears, we could see again a few heavy thundery showers through the afternoon, maybe some more persistent rain lingering in the southwest. But then for most overnight Tuesday, could see a few heavy showers developing, but it does turn generally a bit drier. Into Wednesday afternoon, another day of a rash of showers. Again, could be heavy, thundery in places. There is a risk again of seeing another warning issued for this. As you can see, it is fairly widespread. And so I wouldn't say it's as severe as it was yesterday, but nonetheless still could cause some issues. As we head into Thursday, again, you could see a few showers around, maybe some bit more persistent rain through northern England into the Midlands, but again, many areas will be reasonably dry. And then as we head into Friday, again, a few showers around, but turning a bit drier with only a few showers as we do see some slightly drier air moving in. So you see, this brings us all the way to the end of May. And you see it doesn't look too bad, if I'm being completely honest, but it doesn't look particularly great either. No bone dry conditions. Most days will have showers or thunderstorms around. Most days people will be caught out by the odd shower here or there. Very unlikely you go a whole day without seeing any precipitation, unfortunately. Not only have we got this slightly more unsettled conditions, it's also going to bring those temperatures down. You see this afternoon temperatures may get up into the mid to high teens, but that's all dependent on the sunshine amounts. Very strong sunshine this time of year, so if you are in the sun and it's 15 degrees, it will still feel very warm. But it just means that it's a little bit more nippy when the sun goes in and we get a bit of cloud cover. As we head into Tuesday, similar conditions. Again, high teens, obviously drier, sunnier conditions, but more towards the mid-teens elsewhere. As we head into Wednesday, slightly higher as we've got some more dry conditions and slightly warmer air mass, more towards the high teens, even towards maybe sort of the low 20s in a couple of spots. Into Thursday, again, slightly cooler again, maybe 17, 18 degrees. And then finally into Friday, again, could touch 20 degrees in a couple of areas, but mostly mid-teens. So not looking particularly great over the next week. Not washout conditions, not freezing cold, but it's not particularly warm and it's not particularly dry either, unfortunately. But there are some positive signs for early June. Now, if you do have a look at the latest GFS, you can see this low pressure system over the top of us at the moment, and that's causing all of these showers. We continue to see low pressure coming in off the Atlantic for much of this week. It's fairly weak, and that's why it's a showery outbreak, not persistent rain, really. But you eventually see into next weekend high pressure building in for the first couple of days of June, and it will be a warm area of high pressure, at least initially. Look at those air masses, the 10-degree isotherm pushing in, nothing ridiculous, but above average for the time of year and looking fairly warm. Best conditions actually most likely going to be across parts of Scotland and northern England here, and that is because the wind further southwards and eastwards could be coming in off the North Sea. So even though we've got a warm air mass, the wind direction, coming in off the North Sea may bring a bit of a cooler feel to that. So it will be dry, but it could be a little bit chillier further southwards and eastwards. Again, it's all due to the tilt of this high pressure, which could change drastically in the next couple of days. So I wouldn't take this as gospel yet, but that is a possibility. We could see something much drier and warmer further northwards and westwards, but then only drier and a little bit chillier further southwards and eastwards. The high pressure continues to stay in control, but it moves a bit further westwards. And in the longer term, it unlocks the door to some northerly winds. And unfortunately, that would bring cooler conditions and perhaps slightly more unsettled conditions. It wouldn't be absolutely terrible. Coming in from the north, it's a drier air mass direction, so it wouldn't be too terrible for precipitation. There would be showers around, but it would look pretty chilly indeed. Look at that, a pretty cold blast, around 6 to 8 degrees below average here from the latest GFS, so not good at all. But this is out towards 300 hours plus. It's beyond the day 10 period, so it is highly unreliable. So fingers crossed, this does not happen. But we are seeing it from the GFS and we are seeing it from the other runs as well. So it looks like it is a real possibility, but just too far out at this stage to say it's definitely really going to happen. If we look at the latest GM, again, westerly winds at the moment, continue to come in off the Atlantic. High pressure builds into next weekend. Again, if we zoom in, that wind direction is coming in off the North Sea, not as directly off the North Sea, which could mean those temperatures are a bit warmer in central England. So you can see here, slight shift in that wind direction, and it means central areas are that much warmer. So again, still need to keep a close eye on that, but regardless, it's very similar, warm and dry for most. And then towards day 10, does a bit earlier than the GFS, that high pressure moves westwards and we do open the doors to a proper northerly wind. The -5 isotherm's even getting close to northern Scotland, and the 0 degree isotherm moves through the whole of the United Kingdom. And you can see it is a pretty cold blast indeed. So that does not look good at all. That would be pretty chilly indeed if we do zoom in. Overnight temperatures down into the single digits. Daytime temperatures here in the north and the west, where the cold air has moved in the single digits as well. The south and east is still 20 degrees because if we look at the air mass, we still have a warm air mass here. It is getting swept away very quickly, and by the following day, it would be chilly. But we'll have to wait and see. It's at day 10, so it is highly unreliable. But the fact that we're seeing it for the GFS and the GM, and as we'll see in a minute from the ECMWF as well, I think there is some plausibility behind it. Not a guarantee, but plausibility. If you look at the latest ECMWF, again, westerly winds at the moment, high pressure slowly building in. Again, that wind direction coming just in off the North Sea, again, could keep it cooler, especially in that southeast corner. If we do move to the afternoon, you can see here it's warmest in the north and the west, the far east, a little bit chillier, unfortunately. And then as we head into the days following that, look at that. We see that northerly wind arriving, and it's even colder or even more direct than the other runs. Not quite as as cold. You can see the 0 degree isotherm doesn't fully move through here because of the tilt, but it is a direct northerly straight from the Arctic. And yes, it would be pretty chilly indeed. If we zoom in, you can see even here, temperatures getting towards the single digits and even low single digits, getting towards freezing across parts of Scotland. Couldn't even rule out a bit of snow across some Scottish hills if this came off. So we'll have to wait and see, but has got some plausibility at this stage, and we'll have to just keep a very, very close eye on it. Now, to finish by looking at the latest ensembles, you can see generally over the next week we're around average or slightly below, and that's why it's a little bit chillier, and we've got plenty of showers. But into the first few days of June, those air masses do start to warm up, getting back towards average, if not above average for a few days. And look at that, we're starting to see an absence of precipitation spikes from around the 1st or 2nd of June to around the 6th of June. Again, not a massively long period of time, but 4 or 5 days. We've got dry conditions coinciding with high pressure and slightly above average air masses. Wouldn't be surprised if in the next few days those temperatures do start to jump up and we see a period of, again, low 20s, maybe even mid 20s in there. It will depend on that wind direction, as we saw. If it is off the North Sea, it will cool it down for some areas, but if the high pressure nudges slightly further eastwards over the top of us, then it would be pretty warm indeed. And then in the longer term, you see those runs dropping off. But although we did see some quite good consistency from the operational runs for that colder blast, see from the ensembles, they're not as sure. There is a lot more scatter, and the majority actually keep us more around average for the time of year. So we will just have to see. You can see the precipitation is still a moderate amount. So we'll have to wait and see for that longer term period. If you finish by looking at the latest ensembles for the ECMWF, you can see again the next sort of week is below average, very similar to the GFS. We've got that above average period with dry conditions, and then again into that second week of June, we do see that big spread. Some much colder runs, but again, it's nowhere near as clear cut as the operational runs were making it look like. You can see plenty of runs actually keep us still above average, which tells me that the operational runs may be picking up on something that the ensembles aren't. Now, that's not necessarily saying the operational runs are correct. I'm not saying they know something that the ensembles don't know. It just means that the way that the resolution works, it may mean the operational runs are picking up on something that is making that northerly wind occur, whereas the ensembles are not moving that high pressure as far westwards and instead keeping it more over the top. So we will have to wait and see exactly how this does play out. But for the time being, it's below average or around average over the next sort of few days into the middle of the week. Still pretty showery, but by the end of the week into the weekend, it's going to be turning much warmer and quite a bit drier, especially for those further westwards, hopefully further eastwards as well, before it could deteriorate into the second week of June, but still very much in the air at the moment. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.